Hello, my friends. Welcome back to English Unleashed. I'm Tom. Today, I'm going to talk about burnout. Maybe you have heard this word before, but what exactly does burnout mean? Burnout is when you work too much for a long time and become very tired. You may have no energy and do not want to work anymore. In simple words, burnout happens when you keep pushing yourself for too long without enough rest. You may feel very tired. You may lose your energy. You may stop enjoying things that you normally enjoy. You may find it difficult to focus. Even small activities can start to feel difficult. You may wake up in the morning and already feel tired. Sometimes you may feel that you do not want to do anything at all. Burnout does not usually happen in one day. It often happens slowly. Imagine that every day you have too much work. You wake up early. You work all day. You think about work in the evening. You answer messages at night. You sleep late. Then you wake up and do the same thing again. You may be able to continue like this for a few days, maybe even for a few weeks. But after some time, your body and mind may start saying, I need a break. That is why it is important to notice burnout before it becomes a bigger problem. And that is what we are going to talk about today. We are going to look at why burnout happens and some simple things you can do to reduce the risk of burnout. First, let's talk about something important. Being busy is not always bad. Studying English hard is not always bad. Working hard is not always bad. Sometimes we need to work hard. We need to study really hard. Maybe you have an important project. Maybe you have an exam. Maybe you are starting a business. Maybe you have a busy week at work. There will always be times in life when we need to do more. The problem starts when this becomes normal every day. Your body and mind need time to recover. Think about exercise. Imagine going to the gym and training very hard every day without giving your body time to recover. Sooner or later, your body will become very tired. Your mind is similar. You cannot ask your brain to work at full speed all day, every single day. You need periods of work, but you also need periods of rest. One of the first things you can do to avoid burnout is to pay attention to your energy. Many people only pay attention to time. They say, I have 8 hours today, so I can work for 8 hours. But not every hour feels the same. You may have a lot of energy in the morning. Later in the afternoon, you may feel slower. That, my friend, is normal. Try to notice when you have the most energy. If possible, use that time for your most important work. Then use times when your energy is lower for easier tasks. For example, maybe you think clearly in the morning. That might be a good time to study, write, plan, or do difficult work. Later, when you are more tired, you can answer simple messages or do easier jobs. You do not need to fight against your natural energy all day. Another important thing is taking breaks. Some people think taking a break means they are lazy. They think, if I stop working, I am wasting time. But breaks are not always wasted time. Sometimes a short break helps you work better. Imagine you have been working at your computer for 2 hours. Your eyes are tired. Your back hurts. You cannot focus well. You keep reading the same sentence again and again. At that point, another hour of work may not be very useful. A short break may be better. So stand up, walk around, drink some water, look outside, move your body, give your mind a few minutes without work. Then return. You may find that you can think more clearly. Rest is part of good work. It is not the opposite of work. Sleep is also extremely important. When life becomes busy, sleep is often one of the first things people reduce. They say, I have too much to do. I will sleep later. Maybe they work late into the night. Then they wake up early. The next day, they feel tired. Because they are tired, everything takes longer. A job that usually takes 30 minutes may take an hour. Then they have even less time. So they sleep late again. This can become a bad cycle. Good sleep helps your body recover. It also helps your brain work better. You may find it easier to concentrate. Remember things. You may find it easier to concentrate, remember things, and make decisions after a good night's sleep. So, if you are trying to avoid burnout, do not think of sleep as something unimportant. Sleep is one of the basic things your body needs. Another common cause of burnout is trying to do everything. Maybe you have a long list: work, exercise, study English, cook, clean, answer messages, see friends, help family, learn a new skill, read, watch the news, finish a project, and many other activities. You look at the list and feel that you should do all of it today. But you cannot do everything every day. You are just one person. You have limited time and limited energy. So choose what really matters. Ask yourself, what really needs to be done today? Maybe you only need to finish 2 or 3 important things. Other things can wait. This does not mean you are lazy. It means you are making choices. Learning to choose is an important skill. If everything is important, then nothing feels important. Another way to avoid burnout is to learn to say no sometimes. This can be difficult. Maybe someone asks you for help. Maybe someone gives you more work. Maybe a friend wants to meet when you are already very tired. You want to be kind, so you say yes. Then another person asks you for something. You say yes again. Soon, your day is full. Helping people is good. Spending time with people is important, but you also need to know your limits. You do not have to say yes to every request. Sometimes it is okay to say, I'm sorry, I can't do that today. Sometimes it is okay to say, can we do it another day? Protecting your time can also protect your energy. Another problem is that many people never really stop working. Maybe they leave the office, but they continue thinking about work. They check emails during dinner. They answer messages in bed. They think about tomorrow's problems. They think about tomorrow's problems while watching television. Their body is at home, but their mind is still at work. If possible, create a clear end to your workday. When work is finished, try to let it finish. Close your computer. Leave your work area. Turn off work notifications if you can. Tell yourself, I will continue tomorrow. There will always be more work. You can always answer one more email. You can always make one more change. You can always spend another 30 minutes working. So you need to decide when enough is enough. Another important part of avoiding burnout is doing things that give you energy. Think about the activities that make you feel better. Maybe you enjoy walking. Maybe you enjoy music. Maybe you enjoy cooking. Maybe you enjoy playing a sport. Maybe you like reading. Maybe you like sitting in a cafe with a friend. Maybe you enjoy spending time with your family. These things may look simple, but they are important. Your life should not only be a list of jobs. You need things that you enjoy. You need moments when you are not thinking about what you need to finish next. Sometimes people tell themselves, I will enjoy life after I finish everything. But there is always something else to finish. There is always another message, another job, another problem, another plan. You do not wait until everything is finished before you give yourself permission to rest and enjoy your life. Another thing that can cause burnout is putting too much pressure on yourself. Maybe nobody is asking you to be perfect, but you are asking yourself to be perfect. You want to be perfect at work. You want your home to be perfect. You want to exercise every day. You want to eat perfectly. You want to learn quickly. You want to make no mistakes. This can become exhausting. You do not need to do everything perfectly. Sometimes good is enough. Imagine you need to send an email. You write it, you read it, the message is clear, you could send it. But you spent another 20 minutes changing small things. Was that really necessary? Maybe not. Perfection can use a lot of energy. So ask yourself, does this need to be perfect? Or does it simply need to be done? This question can save you time and energy. It is especially important for language learners. Many English learners put too much pressure on themselves. They think they need to study every day for a long time. They want to remember every word. They want to understand everything they hear. They want to speak without making mistakes. They think they need to study every day for a long time. They want to remember every word. They want to understand everything they hear. They want to speak without making mistakes. Then learning English starts to feel like another stressful job. But language learning takes time. You do not need to do everything today. Maybe you are tired after work. You plan to study English for 1 hour, but today you only have energy for 15 minutes. That is okay. Listen to something for 15 minutes. Practice a little, then stop. 15 minutes of calm practice may be better than forcing yourself to study for an hour when you are exhausted. Consistency is useful, but consistency does not mean doing the same amount every day. Some days you can do more. Some days you can do less. What matters is continuing over time. You should also notice the early signs that you need more rest. Maybe you are becoming angry more easily. Maybe small problems feel much bigger than usual. Maybe you cannot concentrate. Maybe you feel tired even after sleeping. Maybe you do not enjoy your work anymore. Maybe you keep thinking, I just want to stop. Pay attention. Ask yourself some simple questions. Am I sleeping enough? Am I working too much? Am I taking breaks? What can I reduce? Maybe you need one quiet evening. Maybe you need to stop checking emails after dinner. Start with one small change. Maybe tonight you will stop checking work messages after dinner. Maybe tomorrow you will take a real lunch break. Maybe you will go to bed a little earlier. Maybe you will remove one unimportant task from your list. Maybe you will spend 30 minutes doing something you enjoy. One small change may not seem important, but small changes can protect your energy. And when you protect your energy, you can continue doing the things that matter to you for much longer. So remember, working hard, studying hard can be a good thing. Having goals can be a good thing. Being ambitious can be a good thing. But you are not a machine. You need rest and recovery. Thank you so much for listening to another episode of English Unleashed. I'm Tom. Take care of yourself, keep learning, and I will see you in the next episode. Bye for now.